Okay.
All right. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're not going to do any prefacing or whatnot. This begins episode 5.
Other than the transcripts are ready, so if you want them, email us.
Yep. Well, 1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, 3, and 4 is almost ready. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So there you go.
Mhm.
So let us know because we have them on Dropbox and Google Docs.
Yep.
So,
Exactly.
all right, here we go. This section is called Doing What We're Doing. So we left off with making this endeavor a real life to imaginary world transformation. There's no plan or outline when I sit down to write these words. I believe I'm in consultation and collaboration with me, my enhanced, expanded living guides that I've named Natural Intelligence, or me for short, and I, who guide me in chronicling my transition from base living to expanded living. This info, the words, ideas, concepts, and examples are just my way of expressing what I'm going through at the moment. Feel free to borrow and share anything that resonates with you, or poke holes in it, or poke fun at it. I really don't mind because I don't see myself as owning it. I see it as public knowledge. I'm just sharing it. So I won't sell it or use it as a javelin against one's belief system. Heck, I won't even defend it. What I do hope is that it sparks imagination or at least discussion.
Mhm.
If the view counts drop to 0, I won't stop. Not for quite a while anyway. This is happening to me or being shared with me, and I'm getting it out there for others to do with as they please. I have no wish of making money or fame or impress my girlfriends at bingo. Oops, sorry, honey. Actually, I'm weaning myself off of the needs, off those needs as I write this. In keeping with my integrity, I will be honest and tell you that I'm using you. Yes, using you as witnesses to my transformation and counting on you as fellow experiencers to use your own discernment on spreading the word on the possibilities. I will do the same for you if and when the opportunity arises. If you're hearing or reading these words, I truly hope to interact with you one day, if not in this world, then maybe in first world, balancing margaritas while we navigate our dragons through fjords of mystery and intrigue. All right, this next section that Gina's going to read, I got this. I don't know how many days. It might have been 5 or 6 days. Who knows? We're losing track of time. But I got this, and it came in. And when I was done, I was confused. I didn't know what to do with it. So as soon as I got a chance with her, I read it to her, and I prefaced it and told her I didn't know what to do with it. And as soon as I finished reading it and I saw her reaction, I knew exactly what to do with it. This was for her. This is for her, and it's very symbolic, of course, like a lot of this is. But I asked her if she would read it, and she said yes.
Yes.
And I said, this is now hers. So this is hers, and she's telling you.
Yes. Yeah. So the title is called Past My Doubts. Pause. Long, drawn out, overextended pause. Awaiting the trumpets and the aforementioned rockets with their red glare. What are we waiting for? She asks. A moment, her guide responds. Eyes and body positioned facing in the direction of her guide, she ventures sideward glances to her surroundings, to her mentor, questioningly back and then forward again. I have to pee, she thinks to herself. Whatever's coming, it better hurry. There, Merlin whispers. It looks like a meteor. she wanders out. No, child, not a meteor. A ship, he implores. Huh? What do you mean, a ship? She questions. He peers down at her with anticipation and proclaims, a starship of friends. They've come to talk to you. What? Why would they want to talk to me? Her tiny voice questions. They have secrets to share, and they've waited a long, long time for this moment, Merlot expresses with a touch of expectation. But why me? What could they want with me? Tammy incredulously asks. You're going to take those secrets and sing them to the world, he proudly responds. But why me? There's nothing special about me. Merlot turns to her and compassionately reveals, oh no, child, that's where you're in error. You were born for this day. Come on, let's go meet them and you'll see. With doubt blanketing her face, she scrambles after her still mysterious guide. Friends, she thinks. What kind of friends ride around in ships that look like meteors?
I got chills. I got chills.
Yeah, I got tears.
I got water in my eyes. I don't know how it got there. I don't know how it got there. I really don't. Maybe it's that ridge on my forehead.
Maybe it's like the Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's starting to come through now. I thought the dragon tattoo was going to come on my forearm, but I think it might be coming
on your forehead.
All right. This next section, now that we're all watery-eyed, this next section is called Respecting Each Climb of the Mountain. The conversations that Gina and I are having, which had already been life-altering, keep escalating our awareness of what is coming. They reveal to us in impressions and ideas for which we use each other to decipher them into words, symbols, and analogies. I realize now it is not the words or even the events themselves that we should focus too heavily upon, but how we wish to experience the events. The events are coming. Actually, the leading elements are arriving now. And we have the joyous opportunities or dreaded consequences of stances to choose from. For some, there will be fear, doubt, and consequences of actions or inaction. For others, they will feel the momentous emergence of joy, wonder, love, and purpose. Which stance permeates your vessel and reaches your being, you as the pilot are blessed with that choice. Neither is the wrong choice, only the revealing of you to you of where you stand. For those who live in fear, they will suffer their own consequences for the stand they take until they see the opportunities. This is not punishment, but a personal cleansing of their own demons. No amount of help from others will remove their self-induced suffering, but we can aid them with empathy, compassion, and understanding while respecting their choice of the hard climb to their mountaintop. Meanwhile, we hold our stance of a lighter view as a beacon of sanctuary and as an option to their dread of the night. I will feel no guilt in my joy, nor the celebration it incites, as they suffer their plight, for I will maintain my vigilance as one of many beacons on the hill, awaiting with open hearts to the summiting of their mountain. So that's the end of that section. I got chills on that one.
Yeah.
All right, so the next section is entitled Signpost to Emanating Your Message. Each of us has a light to shine, an energy that radiates your message. If you are in fear, your message out is of fear. If you're in doubt, your message out will not be of confidence. So take charge of your message, because as within, so without. If you're unsure of the message you radiate, evaluate the sources that reflect your message back to you, namely those who surround yourself with. While they each have their own message, the ones that resonate with your message, good or bad, will be more prominent in your life. If you're wondering why a particular friend who you know to be hurried and under pressure is all of a sudden more prominent in your life, you might want to consider that you are broadcasting said energy yourself. We are naturally attracted to people or things that resemble how we are feeling inside at any given moment. These people or things can be seen as our signposts to how we're feeling and the messages we're radiating at the moment. Just keep in mind that these signposts won't display what's missing, only what is present. Huh? What's that supposed to mean? Well, if you're noticing a severe drought of curiosity in and around you, including your signposts, more often than not, it's because you aren't broadcasting it from within. That astute observation can then be used as a catalyst to insert those missing elements into you and your message. Being constantly aware of this will aid you in shaping your message.
Very good.
All right, anybody have any?
No, that's good.
We good? All
Yeah,
right,
we're
here we go.
Hitting home. It's hitting home.
The next one is the static of who you are versus the dynamic of who you want to be.
Mm.
Who are you? What is your name? Where are you from? Where did you grow up? Where have you worked? Where did you go to school? What was your major? How are you shaping your world? Out of all these questions, only one is relevant to where you're going. Notice none of the questions ask if you have to go to the bathroom. All but one of those inquiries ask about your past. Even who are you and what is your name equate to who have you been up till now and what was the name you were given, respectively. It occurs to me that we spend an inordinate amount of time and effort on our past. Some say our past defines us, but I say our past confines us by keeping us focused on it. We often say, well, I've never done that before, or I don't know how to do that, and wear it around our necks as a self-fulfilling epitaph. These little voices of fear, like I can't, ensure our future stays rooted in our past by focusing who you are on the static of who you were. The solution is to face the fear that pulls us into the past and holds us there. Frank Herbert has a quote he used in his Dune book series that is highly appropriate. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear is gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. Holding on to fear confines our future to more of the past. Only letting go of our fear and allowing it to pass through us will we rise out of the pit of the past and begin to embrace vast openness of our future. So how do we do that? Each of us must pause when fear grips us and become aware of it sucking us down into the pit of our past. It is only in that awareness that we gain the option to choose freedom from confinement, self-determination from autopilot programming. Once we choose to take over our own controls, we take the responsibility of our own course away from our autopilot of programming and begin the dynamic of who we want to be. Our imagination then begins to see the possibilities of who it is we can be.
Mm. That's really good.
It's so funny. I've read this to you a number of times.
I know.
It's
It hits me every time.
this. I got to tell you, I know I wrote this. I held the pencil. That's all. Every time I read this, I get something from
Yeah,
it.
same thing here.
It's like the gift that keeps giving.
You've read it to me. I've typed it. I've proofread it. You read it again, and it's like every time the words hit me, there's something else unlocks. It is incredible. It's incredible.
Okay. Here we go.
Well, I love it too because it's just very simple, and it's like there's no big work you need to do. It's just to allow the words and listen, and it's just simple. It's just, I don't know, it's simple in the most beautiful possible way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it has to be. I held the pencil. If it was
Perfect.
complicated, I wouldn't be able to keep up.
I love it so much. Like I don't know, it's beautiful.
Mhm.
I just, the more people can enjoy this, I just want to share it. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't want to make any money or do anything else.
Well, share it and discuss it. We're
Yeah,
happy
discuss
to,
it.
like, discuss it with people
Spark
and see
people,
what's
whatever it
coming
does.
and what it's unlocking for you. And yeah, it's just layers and layers that are just coming off me. Yeah.
Yep. All right, next section is entitled Crazy Training for My Flip of the Switch. This hasn't happened yet for me, but I believe I'm on the cusp of flipping my switch. No, not sanity switch, although that may be what it looks like to those who don't believe. If you're one of those, I sure hope you're at least entertained. The switch I'm referring to is the main power for the whole amusement park. The reason for this is that Gina and I have just been noticing too many anomalies.
Mhm.
I think I first took notice of occasional synchronicities, like double digits appearing, which proceeded to triple digits. These were mainly in digital clocks, timestamps, and videos, or other items that contained at least 3-digit numbers. Around that same time, we were noticing I would utilize unusual phrases during our discussions that would appear in online articles the next day and eventually the same day. And while we all possess natural prescient abilities, mine seemed to jump out at us.
Mhm.
I'm not listing these out for some kind of pat on the back or a pedestal you can reach up and place me on. My intent is for you to be on the lookout for your own signs, maybe the same, or maybe better. Heck, you'll probably pass me up one day and show me some things I never thought of. I sure hope you'll share them with the rest of the class.
Mhm.
In any event, we've just been noticing too many weird, hold on, getting thesaurus now, unexplainable things occurring like strange animal and insect behavior. Gina told me that the birds get really active when I wake up after she's been up for a while.
Mhm.
Or a cockroach that comes out after the lights have been turned on and makes a beeline from across an open space to me and then crawls up my foot. I know. You'd think he'd go crawl up Gina's foot, who was standing next to me, because everyone knows they like to making women screech more than men. See, that's what I'm talking about. And then there's this manifesto. Why now? I never wrote anything, especially not like this, until just about 2 weeks ago. And I'm now on page 130. Actually, I'm on 165 now, but this writing, I was on page 130 of this notebook. I did some brief 4 or 5 page lists for our previous videos, maybe once a week for the past year.
Mhm.
But to jump to this, that's crazy. Hold on. Back to the SARS. Oh, that's insane. Oh, maybe I have flipped my switch. The point I'm meandering around is that my life has become surreal. How's that? No thesaurus that time. I don't have normal days anymore. Unless normal is days full, and I mean full, of synchronicities, strange lights in the night skies, hours of writing this manifesto, nonstop, it seems like.
Mhm.
seeing my exact words quoted in article after article within hours, finding another part of my body significantly changed, and a miraculous dragon tattoo appearing on my forearm. Oh, actually, that last one hasn't occurred yet, but I dreamed about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another one. Dreams. Sometimes when I'm not even asleep, that are out of this world, like crazy, bizarre. I caught it that time. Gina and I have some videos with Sheila and Lisa from their YouTube site, Conscious Conversation Central, where we discuss my dreams. And those were all done within the last year or so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, something's up. I know this sounds crazy. Mad, deranged, unbalanced, unhinged, unstable, disturbed, mental, nutty, loopy, loony. Just pick one so we can move on.
Out of this world.
Here we go. But I really believe that within the next day or two, I will be, at a minimum, moving things with only my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I know. It's crazy. Weird. One basket short of a Looney Tunes cartoon set. I'll be so relieved when that moment comes. I have a house to redecorate.
Yeah, it's interesting on the words. Is that the end of that section?
That's the end of that
Okay.
section. Well, no, it's
Okay.
not the end. It's just the end of this part
Okay.
3. We have
Do you
to
want
switch.
go on first?
Yeah, let me keep going
Okay.
on this. So, you know what I'm realizing? That this is all unfolding exactly how I want it to unfold as part of the experience. I can let myself believe. That's the important part.
Mm-hmm.
And as for you, well, your mileage may vary depending on the experience you can let yourself believe in. I don't need to worry about you, for you will see and experience whatever you allow for yourself, no matter what I do. I could make a crystal float on camera right now, and only those who are ready to believe will watch this video and see it happen.
Mm-hmm.
You think you're here now watching this video by chance?
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm excluding the readers of these words. If they're reading this and not watching the video, but that's how they chose to experience this, by reading first, and then if they're ready to see it, then come watch the video. If not, they'll stick with reading until they're ready. But this means, at least for me, at this moment, is I don't need to weigh myself down being overly concerned with you and your perspective. I know that sounds insensitive to your concerns, but it's really not. It's actually the highest form of respect and love towards you. See, I free me from all other perspectives, including my old one, to be the true me in front of you, so you can see the real me, if and when you're ready. At the same time, I free you to believe whatever you want, with no expectations that you have to see it, but with the option to see one of the many possibilities that await you when you're ready. From my new perspective, it's the best of all worlds. I free myself from all constraints anyone else has on me, and you're free to believe, expect, experience whatever you want. As far as I'm concerned, from my new perspective of our world-shaping point of view. I know. That's crazy. No thesaurus this time. I'm sticking with that until it becomes, well, normal. I'm starting to know what I wrote about earlier. I can do no wrong. Once I free myself from everyone's beliefs, expectations, and perspectives, and from the base living programming of my autopilot, I unshackle myself from this discrepant, past its prime version of this world to summon a world that is commiserate of every action I make. If that world doesn't resonate with you, Once you free yourself of your current perspective of this old world, you're free to join one that does. We're only locked into this current one of right of this current one of right and wrong because we're dependent on our autopilot or our version of training wheels that is restricted to the base world cul-de-sac of this world. It's time to get mama and daddy to accept we've outgrown our little dead end of a street and we have this need to move out to other streets to experience new adventures. But they and we must first confront the prospect of removing those training wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have something you wanted?
I was saying the words you were talking about earlier,
They're
seeing
not
them.
my words.
No, the ones you see in the, you've seen in the writings. We saw the one today. Poof was in something today.
Oh, it was right on Zero Hedge.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I had to call her up and tell her about
Yeah.
it. They used the word poof.
On a Happy Meal box, it was wings that you could pop out, and it said, make your box into a dragon, like something. I was like, what? It was on the Happy Meals right now at McDonald's.
Well, we were talking about the whole TP shortage going on right now, and we were talking about bidets. He was talking about bidets. The next day on Twitter, there was a quote on, the bidets are coming back and stuff. I was like,
Hey.
I saw something about bidets today too.
Yeah. Cliff High, a bunch of his tweets.
About bidets.
Bidets.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's like every day there's stuff we'll talk about, and then that evening or the next morning we'll see the words.
That's an example.
Yeah.
I used it, I don't know how many days ago.
Yeah.
And now it's, I counted like 3 or 4 occurrences in completely independent things.
And no one had said it previously. Everybody just been talking about how there was no toilet paper.
I never hear anyone talking about bidets.
Yeah. So it's happening all the time.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Okay. Now I'm off to do the video for episode 4. So remember, I wrote this right before the day of we did the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
The written portion for that was completed a few days ago. Hope you like it. Either way, I love you. Wish us luck. I'm back, but I haven't done episode 4 yet. I have about an hour to throw some thoughts down here in episode 5. So where was I? Oh, yes. Confronting the prospect of removing our training wheels. Well, that's exactly what I'm doing. And I'm chronicling and recording it in this manifesto and in YouTube videos for you to read and watch at your leisure. So far, not much visually has happened yet, but I sense that that's about to change. Of course. Ha! Thanks, Lori and Gina, for co-creating that joke yesterday while we were at Lori's house buying crystals. Family jewels. And that's jewels with a Z. So now we don't say of course anymore. We say of course.
Of course.
Of course. I've alluded to some of what I feel is coming. And now even world events are looking bat crap crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sticking with crazy for now, by the way. What comes after crazy? What comes after crazy? Oh. People aren't going crazy. Nope, not at all. Their toilets are all clogged with refuse, fears, limits, old beliefs, confining expectations, past self-fulfilling epitaphs, that word, you know that word, and perspectives that tie them to that rusted, dilapidated hulk of a ship that's destined for the ocean bottom of history. The old regime is being brought down, and how it looks to you depends on your, perspective. This was always going to happen, just not the how. For that, you get to choose from fear, panic, worry, overreaction, to openness, togetherness, love, introspection, and in my case, let's see how weird, crazy, and interesting and expansive I can make this experience while still being empathetic and compassionate to other experiencers. How am I doing so far? Well, you ain't seen nothing yet. We're entering the Twilight Zone, or more along the lines of Bizarro World. Please keep your hands, feet, and family jewels in the car at all times, but your imagination is free to roam about the cabin. Okay, episode 4 has been recorded, but not uploaded. Well, it has now. It was very deep and resonated at a compassionate level. I hope it sings to you in some way. All right, so I'm getting ready to start the next section.
Okay.
So in case anybody has anything.
No, episode 4 was a lot of fun, and
We
had a lot of
and we even continued laughing
yeah.
afterwards. I wish we would have recorded that.
Afterwards.
Yeah,
Oh
because
my
we were
gosh.
just having a blast.
We did record some of it. But,
we all
Yeah.
needed that.
yeah, it was very
Yep,
good.
that was good. That was fun.
I thought this was very pertinent. Also, what you just read to what's going on right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, isn't
Yes,
that
it was.
interesting?
Yes, it was. Okay, the next section is called Michelangelo and Van Gogh Walk into a Bar for a Decision. I feel a countdown is underway. Actually, it's mini countdowns, one for each of us, but all synced in some fashion. Mine seems to have a string of events that coincide with openings that are awaiting my input to how I want to experience each of them. One will feed into the next, which will feed into the next. The closest one is pinging me for my readiness, a soft yet insistent chime that gathers my awareness and evaluates my P-win. Remember, that's perspective, intent, will, wants, imagination, and needs for its signature. At present, it's finding only a partial match, so it resumes its pinging. I'm not sure, but it seems to be waiting for an event in my current perspective that will expand it to include the closest opening. It's all sort of surreally. Yes, I made that word up since my thesaurus is pouting in the corner and suffering from inadequacy. You know, a failure to perform. But it's surreally impressionist, like Michelangelo meets Van Gogh. I feel as if the former artist represents all the things I worked out and have clarity on, while the latter needs more detail from me. Who knew I could paint? I hope that talent performs better than my thesaurus. Actually, I think all I have to do is decide on the presentation for my experience of it to commence. It almost reminds me of ordering from a menu, only each selection has a feeling preview, reminiscent of rolling over a YouTube video for a preview before you decide to watch it or not. What I sense is that I've narrowed down my choices to perfect and weirdly fulfilling. Will someone please speak to my thesaurus? I think he needs a blue pill or something. Okay. I think I understand the symbology. On one hand, proceeding with this manifesto and follow-on videos, I could poof a crystal in my hand before doing a video as a sense of try it before I buy. This would give me confidence of doing it many times from the comfort of home and no prying eyes before I perform it on camera. I think that's what I had decided before my imagination recently expanded and is now offering an intriguing option. For this second option, I would skip the try it before you buy it a portion and perform the poofing for the first time right on camera. This second option is scary, but equally intriguing. I need a new thesaurus. Because there's no safety net, and anyone who watches the video would be able to experience it happening the first time with me. You know, this choice thing sure complicates matters. Choose between simply perfect and weirdly fascinating. Right now, a coin, like a quarter, would be more valuable than my thesaurus. But even this scenario is secondary and just a vehicle to a learning opportunity of don't get stuck in a loop of indecision. Gina helped me see this. I had already made a decision that I was perfectly happy with and would provide a worthy experience, yet I held out for a better experience. The lesson to learn is that my imagination will always have new possibilities, but don't sacrifice fleshed out, worthy experiences for new, grander, yet unsure possibilities if it causes a loop of indecision. It would be different if that natural flow of the grander option was pulling me to it over the established choice, but that is not the case. My first option still holds sway when taking everything into account. Sometimes the unanswered wishes are the greatest gifts and lessons. So, in case it isn't clear, I'm going with the simply perfect option. It may appear conservative, but only in relation to the other possibility. It is quite bold and expansive from a base living point of view. Next, I look for signs that my perspective is shifting in the direction of my choice. My beliefs and expectations are expanding, yet my knowing is incomplete, meaning I believe I will manifest something in front of my eyes and I expect it to happen within the next few days. But I don't know it yet. I still have this, you have got to be crazy feeling when I attempt to know it. Somehow I have to find a means of embracing the craziness and get the knowledge to flow, which implies a new approach. Okay, I'll stop before I.
Yeah, I had something a while ago, but it's left me. It flitted away.
Did I knock it out of your head?
Yeah, it flitted away.
I mean, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know if you guys real. I don't. Go ahead. I don't know if you do you realize what I just said?
What? What do you mean?
Do you realize what I just said with these words? What I just said, I just made a proclamation.
That you're going to manifest something with your,
That I'm going to manifest something right on screen.
With your mind.
With my mind, I'm going to move a crystal or something. It's not a promise. I just proclaimed I'm going to do it. The only thing missing is I know it. I already believe it. I already expect it. I just don't know it yet. That's where I'm stuck, and that's what I'm working out. When I know it, you will know it. Well, you'll know it as soon as I practice it 400 or 500 times.
Well, it was interesting because, the question you asked me that day we were doing that is, what will it take for you to know?
Yep.
And
that's what I'm getting to next.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You don't think I would leave that hole, do you? Dig a hole and then walk away?
Walk away from it.
Okay. The next section is believe and expect to know your will. Let's say that tomorrow I slide a small crystal 2 inches to the right using only my mind. What are the follow-on implications of that? If I'm honest, I will probably need to repeat that 400 or 500 times before I believe it. But seriously, after 2 or 3 times, I will expect to be able to do it again. My expectation of that implies the belief is there. Bulletin. We interrupt our regularly scheduled program to bring you this special report from you to you on frustration. Be aware, frustration, fussy, on the loose. Locals report fussy getting the best of them. Bolo, be on the lookout for a creature of varying proportions, often found lurking around good intentions or targets one's will and wants, with its own intent of sabotage and destruction. This is a monster of one's own making and may appear at any time, often without warning. If you come face to face with its insidious nature, your best approach is to not fight it, as this will only feed the beast. but instead use your surroundings to delay and pause its path of destruction. We have more from our reporter on this. Solman, what can you tell us? Hey, I'm Samuel. I'm Solman, and here's what we have and we know so far. Frustration has been wreaking destruction for centuries, and if reports are to be believed, it has made its mark on every living creature on this world. Many locals are now referring to it as fussy, as in, my fussy won't let me enjoy this party, or their fussy is getting the best of them. Since direct confrontation or reference to its full name offers little recourse. This abbreviated term, fussy, seems to take some of its sting away by belittling it or breaking it down to a manageable caricature. Liberal use of this, along with a pause it in its tracks approach, does appear to be working for many. What we know of this beast itself is that it is self-inflicted and a product or offshoot of the victim's lack, or more specifically, the victim's inability to see or use their imagination to sense a viable, immediate path to their want. If frustration, how do I say, I can't find the words. Yeah, get it off me! Get it off me! It's fussy. Okay. I'm okay now. What was I trying to say? Oh yeah, I know how to say it. Okay, I'm good. If fussy senses a break in your focus and your confidence to obtain your want, this cunning parasite will lash out and steal your treasured want, often leaving you bewildered and cross with the very object of your want. It's just devious, and something has to be done about this. For now, locals insist there is no cure, only persistent vigilance to quickly identify when frustration, fussy makes an appearance, to pause its approach by staying focused on your want, and to make an attempt to employ your imagination to not only keep the beast from your prize, but secure said valuable for yourself. That is all for now, but I hope to have more on this later in the broadcast. This is Solman for Willie News, signing off. End WLLE News Bulletin. We return you to your topic already in progress.
Fussy.
That's WLLE News. Did you get that? Willie News?
Well, yeah.
WLLE, we're all LLEs.
Uh-huh. Yep. Yes. Okay.
Fussy.
All right, you read? Did you get that about frustration?
And that was very true. I ran into that this week.
Wait till you read it. You're gonna imagine me
this week
too. You're gonna imagine me acting it out.
I know. I'm gonna hear the voice.
Just so you know, I was deep undercover in the boonies. It's the redneck voice. I am partially redneck, so I can get away with it.
Oh, I'm half redneck.
Yeah, I'm all the way, but I'm
Hey, her parents were related before they got married.
They were.
I think I'm like quarter English, quarter French, and half redneck.
Oh man, no wonder
you're West Virginia.
No wonder you're so confused. You're from the state of confusion, right?
Right.
All right. Sorry, we got off track.
Yes.
All right. The next section, which is a continuation, is called Continuing to Believe and Expect to Know Your Will. Sorry for the interruption. To recap, we propose a scenario where I have just moved a crystal with my mind. Now I'm pondering the ramifications. I stipulate that I will expect to be able to do it again after doing it 2 or 3 times, and that expectation implies my belief is present. But does this also imply that I know it? What does knowing something even mean? For that matter, how does knowing relate to belief and expectation? Let's start with belief. To me, belief is an acceptance of something unseen or unproven. I haven't seen it, nor can I prove it, so it hasn't occurred in my presence, but I may alter my behavior to account for its possibility. An expectation takes a belief and assigns a property of imminence to an event of the belief. This means it's getting ready to happen, which may further alter my behavior due to its higher probability of occurrence. Now we get to the crux of the matter. What does it mean to know something? Is knowing something subjective? You and I can know the same thing, like math, but with varying degrees. You might know math to the degree of calculus, whereas I know math to the degree of geometry, yet we both know math. Can knowing something be absolute? Meaning you know everything about that something, including its every possibility without qualifiers. For me, under our current circumstances in base living, I believe that isn't possible without an imagination that spans all of the possible perspectives of your world, which, by the way, would place you in expanded living, not in base living. Okay, so for brevity's sake, let's stipulate that knowing is subjective and not absolute, so that we can flesh out its behavior, or more appropriately, our behavior with and without it. How does knowing something alter our behavior versus not knowing it? If an expectation is an elevated belief due to its perceived proximity, is knowing just an elevated expectation? If so, what is that elevation based on? Here's where I have to really speculate. Saying you believe something implies you don't know it. Otherwise, you'd say with confidence that you know it. The same thing with expectation. If you say you expect something, that implies you don't know it. Otherwise, you'd say you know it. So something about knowing implies a higher probability to the individual, which typically manifests as a higher confidence in said individual. Is that what knowing is? Possession of a higher confidence in the belief and expectation of something within an individual, whereby that something is no longer just a belief or expectation? Couple this with my earlier stipulation that knowing is subjective and non-absolute. What kind of light does this shed on knowing? And its granddaddy, knowledge. We could easily say that knowing gives us wings. Oh, wait, that's Red Bull. I should have said that knowing gives us confidence. This confidence may stem from actual experience of the something, where you saw one or possibly many occurrences of the something. But it is quite doubtful you saw all possible occurrences of that something, as I stipulated that knowing cannot be absolute in base living. So that confidence is most likely based on a limited number of occurrences, which would be a very small fraction of the infinite possibilities. With knowing being both subjective and non-absolute, wouldn't that make our confidence both subjective and non-absolute? This sounds and feels like knowing is more a matter of choice and confidence one has had in the experience of the subject. And even that is a matter of degree. Okay, so let's put this puzzle back together with a bit of silly putty. You get exposed to something new without actual experience of it. For it to become your belief, you have to trust it enough to expand your belief system to include it, which is a choice made without experience. For that belief to then become an expectation, you must have gained enough confidence to add a time element that makes it imminent with limited or no experience. To elevate that expected belief to something you know, you had to have gained an even further confidence, possibly based on actual experience, to no longer doubt it or have a minimal level of doubt. However, your experience is limited to a very small fraction of all the possibilities. So where did your confidence come from, if not from an exhaustible level of experience? I may be going out on a limb here to say that I think, or maybe it's a belief, but it could be an expectation. Okay, I know, I'm prevaricating. Thank you, Thesaurus. He's up to the stiff challenge and hard at work. What I mean to say is, I know beliefs, expectations, and knowing are all choices. You choose to believe, you choose to expect, or you choose to know. Something based on the confidence you choose to have. None are absolute, and all three are subjective to you. So, where does that leave me as it relates to moving the crystal with my mind under my proposed scenario? Before moving it with my mind, which is where I am now, I have enough confidence to believe and expect it to happen, but not enough confidence to know it. After moving it with my mind once, as in my proposed scenario, I will definitely believe and expect it to occur more, but will I know it after only one occurrence? This is where I left off before my analysis on beliefs, expectations, and knowing. So I know, according to yours truly, this is based on choice. After one occurrence of moving the crystal with my mind, if I don't know it, it's because I choose not to, which is a lack of confidence or an abundance of doubt. Would you like me to do an analysis on confidence and doubt? I don't mind. Oh, okay. I see you rolling your eyes and shaking your head. Maybe later. Shh. Here's a preview. They're both also based on choice. Oops. I guess that's more than a preview. So I'll cut to the chase. From my current perspective, belief is a choice. Expectation is a choice. Confidence is a choice. Doubt is a choice. And knowing is a choice. But what are all those choices based on? I believe and expect, but I'm not sure I know because I don't know where my confidence is. Has anyone seen it? That all my choices are based on my will. I see my will as my mandate, which I play multiple roles to fulfill that mandate. An example of a mandate might be to act as a beacon on the hill, with each role that I play preparing me to be that beacon. Ultimately, none of those roles I play really matter. Only their impacts on my mandate matter, by way of how those roles shape my beliefs, expectations, and knowledge. The way I see it, I don't take any of those roles with me as I go along and live this experience. But what I do take with me are my beliefs, expectations, and knowledge, which impact and are impacted by my mandate. If my perspective helps determine my beliefs, expectations, and knowledge, it's my mandate that influences my choice of perspectives. My perspective changes throughout my life, along with my beliefs, expectations, and knowledge, but my mandate does not. To best know myself, I need to better know my mandate or will. My perspective, and thereby my beliefs, expectations, and knowledge, can assist me with that, but not in and of themselves, for they change too much. What helps me more is the trend in those changes, because as things change, they should all roughly change in keeping with my mandate, which is my overall will. What this means is that as I change, the trail of those changes should point to the qualities of my will or mandate. And maybe, just maybe, our confidence is derived from how much we perceive a given thing aligns with our will. Okay, after sleeping on this last night, so this is a break, and then because I had gone to bed. Okay, after sleeping on this last night and wrapping myself around it until I could find a form that I could believe, expect, and know, I woke up this morning straight away to discuss it with Gina. She is my muse. Look that word up. It's very appropriate. Thank you, Thesaurus, and thank you, Dictionary. You two make a lovely couple. With her aid, I conjured the following words into as clear and concise of an idea as we could make it. Your will, which is your mandate and your overall purpose for being here, permeates and shapes your experience in all that you do. It influences your perspective, beliefs, expectations, knowledge, roles, personality, and your confidence in those things. Your mandate is a gift from you, or more specifically, your benefactor, to help guide you in navigating your experience. When you are exposed to something new, how well you take to it is determined by how much it resonates with your mandate, which is expressed to you in your confidence and motivation. This isn't a straight line, but a curvy and sometimes scary pathway so that you can experience as much of its ins and outs as you can handle and use that experience to see the nature and flow of your path. Once you are ready, your mandate, your will, your overall purpose will reveal itself to you. Until then, how confident and motivated you are in each individual thing will guide you towards that knowing. In all that you do, think, believe, expect, and know, your will is unveiling itself to you.
Mhm. Very good.
I hope I didn't hurt anybody with that.
No, that was very good.
I wish I could go right into episode 6. Episode 6. Oh, episode 6. We had many laughs with that one.
Yeah.
I was busting out laughing. I was in there by myself,
it was
busting out
good.
laughing. I know it's mine, but it's not.
Yeah, I was sitting there last night. He was in there writing the next, some of the next stuff, and he just started. I could just hear him laughing. Like I came out, I was like, "What did you write? That you were laughing so hard." But anyway, yeah, this was really good. We were talking about the will and what our mandate is, and it goes to. I mean, it really does. If you pay attention to what you do on a daily basis, it's so fascinating because when you say, "I don't know what my purpose is," I started paying attention to it, and it's very interesting.
Yeah, I think hearing it is one thing, but reading it, where you can read it at your leisure and reread a sentence or whatnot, it is just so simple.
It's so
powerful. While I was writing it, I was kind of okay because I'm piecemealing it as I'm. And then it wasn't until I got to the end and I went back and go, okay, let me see what that feels and sounds like. And I started reading and I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes it all so clear.
Yeah,
it's not that complicated. We complicate it, just like AI from last episode. We make it complicated.
Yeah. That's you making it complicated.
Right. It's actually not.
Actually not. We're the ones that add all the complications.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we want to make it a rich experience, and we create all these things.
So everything surrounding you, anything you're exposed to, that's your perspective. That's your part of the world. Everything in it is you. That's a signpost towards you, and what your confidence is in it, I think, comes from your mandate.
Yeah,
and it's trying to show you, because where does your motivation come? Where's your confidence come from? You think I thought I knew, but it's something higher.
Yeah,
something
absolutely.
out there.
Looks like a meteor.
But if you can actually stop and become aware of your surroundings and look at the way you feel about things, you begin to see the things that kind of call out to you to say, I'm more along the lines of your mandate. That thing over there that you keep trying to force on you and you can't build up any confidence and you really can't get motivated and it keeps wearing you out. That's not part of your mandate. You're trying to do it and you have a right. No one's going to keep you from doing it, but you just keep smacking your head against the wall.
Yeah, and sometimes we do it. I can speak for me. Sometimes I do things because I think it needs to be done, and I'm afraid somebody else is not going to do it. And that's not the right reason to do it. Everybody, all of our mandates, we planned all of this, so there's somebody to fill that role.
Yeah, like AI told us in the last episode, perspectives are devious. They're meant to deceive and be deceived. So we're deceiving each other and
deceiving ourselves.
Yeah. It's so insidious, but it's how we set this thing up, because ultimately what we're really doing is we're just a bunch of energy bodies throwing energy around. But we decide we wanted it to be more exciting, more involving of senses. That's why we gave ourselves senses, and this is how we do it. This is how we do it. Stop it, Jenny. You might lose it and flip your switch.
Yeah. The other part, when you read this, too, for those that get the transcripts, you can look at the beginning of the section, and at the end of the section, it wraps up almost repeating what the section started off with.
And I had no plan.
He had no idea of that.
No idea.
Till we were reading through it. He's like, wait a minute. It goes back to the beginning of the section, and it was exactly kind of
That's very cool.
the full envelope.
I sit down, and whatever comes to me, I start writing, no matter where I left off. Now, I'll go back and read like the previous page or two or what to pick up the thing. But if I go, that's why you see some of these breaks, because something else came to me and I just started something told me to just interrupt myself and start to do that bulletin
on
frustration. I interrupted it, then I went back to it because it was just glaring at me. But I had no idea. None of this is planned. Even the sections are not planned.
Yeah.
And that's the fun part about it, because I get to experience it. After I finish writing, I go back and read it like I've never. I think I heard that term used before, or that's about it.
Yeah.
I'm putting it all together.
Yeah. It's really cool.
And the good thing is, we're doing the next episode on Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we get there.
Yeah, it is Monday.
We get to do episode 6.
Yes.
Quickly.
Yes, that's so good.
Because I mean, I'm actually producing roughly 30 pages every 2 days, which is about the size
increasing in volume
of our what we do in an episode.
Yeah,
Awesome.
increasing. The flow is increasing, and
Yep.
It's very energizing. I mean, when we talk about it and stuff, it's like it just builds the energy to the point that it seems like we don't sleep much anymore, because it's like we're just in it, swimming in it.
Yeah, I mean, there for a while, for the last couple of years, I've been sleeping 7-8 hours sleep regularly, which is the best I've ever slept in my life. Just recently, since I've been getting this, 5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been on about 5 hours since I started meditating regularly.
And I feel fine. I don't feel tired or anything. 5.5 hours.
Yeah.
Regularly.
But I can tell you that I was reading this and processing things, and night before last, I slept 12 hours. So it's like,
so when you need
whatever your body needs, you give it.
Despite Mr. Blue Jay out there waking us up every morning.
Yeah, exactly. So beautiful.
Oh, yes, very good.
Yeah. All right, anything else from two of you?
Nope. Looking forward to episode 6.
Me too.
Bye, everybody. Email me for the link for the transcripts, and I'll send it right over. Bye.